visit the Fuerte San Fernando. It was originally built in the 1500s. Then in 1742, the British came through and pretty much destroyed it. In 1753, they decided to restore it. And this is the fort that they built in the place of the original. These are models of the fort here in Cartagena. There are 7 different forts. This right here, this is the basin where they would bring all their fresh water and dump it each day to supply their troops with water. So they would bring fresh water from one of the springs. They would fill this up every day. This used to be part of the stove where they would cook. This is one of the dormitories where the guys used to sleep. There's another dormitory. Everything was pretty much open. If you look down in here, there are small tunnels that run throughout the walls and attach other rooms. Everything has an open port for ventilation and for them to be able to shoot out of. You can see where they had cut large chunks of coral, and where the coral was not big enough, the coral slabs that they cut, they would make bricks, insert them, and use a type of coral, crushed coral concrete to hold everything. That's what all this is. These are large slabs of coral. All these were cut by hand, fitted into place, and then chiseled to make them look pretty. This is a view from the upper parapet wall. This is what would happen if the soldiers were up here and people were able to get into the fort. It was basically a kill box. Would all retreat to the upper level. Then the only way for them to get up here was up one walkway. Now, if you take a good close look at this, you'll see that this is made of bricks and coral blocks that have been chiseled by hand. Look at this coral. This is a guard tower that has somebody stationed 24/7 as a lookout. This would watch for approaches from the water. The one over here would watch for approaches from the land. They even had cannons facing into Tierra Bamba because sometimes the natives would be a little upset with the conditions that they were being treated as. Cannon ports. This is the view from the cannon ports. When the ships would come alongside, this is where they would shoot the cannons. The ships and the small boats would be here attacking the fort, and they would just light their cannons up on it. If you look over there, that's the other fort. As you can see, it's well fortified also. They had installed different bumpers and everything else to stop even the small boats from coming in. It was amazing the fact that back in those days that the Spanish had the technology or the knowledge how to make concrete the way that they did. I mean, just look at the construction here. This was all made by hand. Most of it was slave labor of the Colombians, but it's amazing. The forts that you see here were for the people to stand here with long rifles. Back then all they had was black powder rifles, but this is what they would use to shoot out and take aim at anybody coming. We'll step up here with the camera and we'll show you what the view was through the portholes. So anyone that was trying to encroach upon that outer wall, they had a perfect shot at them. So that whole exterior wall over there, they were able to defend against it. And that's where the entrance to the fort is, so they wanted to always be able to keep that open and be able to keep people from storming the fort. If you look here in the water, you'll see an old cannon laying there. That is an old cannon. The only channel that was cleaned out was on the inside of that reef. That reef is actually a wall that was built. So they would force all the smaller boats into one area whenever they were doing supply runs. If you look down that way, that is a replica of one of the older supply ships that used to run along the coast of Cartagena, Santa Marta, Barranquilla, all the way around, bringing supplies from one area to the other to resupply the forts. And then they would put everything on a smaller boat and bring it in here